I thought I heard you refer to 5 million so-called refugees. Were you questioning the refugee status of individuals in the region?
Yes, it was in reference to the so-called Palestinian refugees.
So-called?
Yes, I work across the street from the UN High Commission for Refugees, the UNHCR. They have definitions for refugees. It does not continue for generations. And only UNRWA gives that status.
Right. So I just want to make sure I understood you. Got it. Mr. Wexler, are they so-called refugees?
No, they are refugees, but it is true that only in the case of Palestinian refugees are second, third, and fourth generation members considered refugees. In other refugee situations, the refugee status stops at the actual refugee itself. And this is a complicated question with many factors, not the least of which are how are those refugees, however you define them, treated in the Arab countries? Pretty poorly.
Mr. Hook, I think you wanted to make...
I think part of the confusion is that when UNRWA was set up in 1949, it created a definition of refugee, which was a person whose normal place of residence between 46 and 48 and who lost his home and his livelihood as a result of the conflict. That was the definition. It was UNRWA later expanded and redefined the definition of refugee to include descendants. And so most of the people in the original definition, many of them are deceased. But then they changed the definition of refugee, and that's why we've got this fusion.
And if I could clarify that it is not my position that these individuals don't need help and that the U.S. and other countries should not provide the aid. The question is how. The problem with UNRWA is not only our 130-page report about incitement to terrorism and anti-Semitism. The problem with UNRWA is a core problem with its underlying message. The question is, how are 2 million Palestinian refugees in Gaza and West Bank, how are they refugees if they've come from mandatory Palestine? And if they're in Gaza and the West Bank today, where are they refugees from? They're in mandatory Palestine. They're in what the UN calls the state of Palestine. Where are they refugees from? And it relates to what Mr. Wexler had said. The PA could address them. We could give the funds to the PA and let them be handled. The problem is that UNRWA's narrative is that their home is not in Gaza, their home is in Israel. And so we should not be surprised that when we give cement, when the international community gives cement to Palestinians in Gaza, rather than use it to build homes, hospitals, and schools, they've been taught by UNRWA that their home is in Israel. And so we shouldn't be surprised that they take that cement and build terror tunnels to attack Israel.
Abandoning, not that you did, but abandoning a two-state solution, I guarantee you, will not make that better.
You know, on the issue of settlements, for example, we have said in Resolution 2334 says that settlements are an obstacle to peace. The fact is that Israel, as it did this week and as it has done on numerous times with the Camp David Accords and then in the disengagement from Gaza, Israel has uprooted thousands of its own citizens from their homes and uprooted and dismantled settlements. And what no one talks about, Dr. Einat Wilf, who's writing a book on UNRWA, one of the world experts, says that dismantling settlements has happened. Israel has done it. But how do you dismantle an idea? And the idea that Israel has no right to exist, the idea in every UNRWA school that Israel is erased from the map, and in our report there are pictures of UNRWA schools in Syria and all over where Israel is erased from the map, to uproot an idea that Israel has no right to exist is much harder, and that idea is the obstacle to peace.